there's not much I can say about Gene Simmons that hasn't already been said, but there's a few things that you might not know about him, which I kind of wanted to just talk to this morning. Apart from his being the founder and the key driver behind one of the world's largest rock brands, Kiss, probably the world's largest rock brand, Kiss. Gene's an interesting guy in that what many of you don't know is that not only does he sell life assurance and has a very, very big business in the life assurance market, Gene is also a partner in Simmons Abrams Marketing, which is a very successful marketing business. And I'm sure many of you are thinking, yeah, but he's just a sleeping partner. I can tell you that's absolutely not the case, and I've been witness to a number of the great marketing ideas that Gene has input, and is now, of course, involved as a spokesman for Allspan. And there are countless other things I could tell you about Gene, but I think there are a couple of things which most people don't know, and I think we should listen to the guy because he's a marketing genius. Next on the list is David Lukash, who's really an internet guy from the get-go. This is a guy who's brought to market numerous cutting-edge technologies which have been instrumental in changing the way we interact with our customers. And so this morning, Andrew and I, Andrew Monastery, of course, technology and TV editor in Variety, are going to try very hard to grill these guys and figure out what's going on. Let me start with Eugene. I mean, as an artist, as a consumer of technologies like Allspan, like Facebook, what does it mean to you? What value does it provide?
This is a really important point. People in the mobile industry, just bear with me for a second. People in the mobile industry point to mobile. People in print point to print. People on the internet point to computers and stuff. And there's a philosophy I adhere to which actually increases my bottom line, which is leave no stone unturned. In other words, it's important to be mobile with your content, your message. Variety is a good example. Here is Neil, on-site implementation. Those are big words like gymnasium, but he's taking the Variety brand and putting it in your face, discussing it on the ground. They've got an internet presence. He smartly charges for it instead of the rest of the knuckleheads who give it away for free. You will get what you demand. And so the notion of mobile is becoming more and more seductive, and that's important to know because everywhere you go, your message, your content, you want to be with the consumer wherever they go. But if that's the only thing you do, you're going to leave lots of checks that are on the table elsewhere. So you've got to connect those. Mobile is now the front leader. Computers are slower because you've got to be at your desk and carry around something big. I walk around with that soon. They're going to implant this stuff. I'm going to press this. I'm going to get the holographic thing, and I'm going to become the mobile thing. Blade Runner isn't all that far off. But let's not lose sight of the fact that it's important to be mobile, to have all the content you need, communication in the world, and it's also important to have your office with you. It's very important. I know exactly where I'm going. Here's my pen. Have your ray gun and have a knife with you when the ray gun stops working. Old school and new school, don't leave any stone unturned. Mobile is the sexy word for today. Don't negate the other tools you've got, which you can also use to bolster your content and your delivery system.
Gene, I just want to touch for a moment. I know you've got some views on kind of social responsibility around how we communicate with our customer and those types of things. What sort of responsibility to your customer base do you have in the light of social technology and social networking?
Well, it's the Wild West now, isn't it? The Pulitzer Code of Ethics came into the journalistic ethic of not getting your point of view. In other words, newspapers became responsible once there was a Pulitzer around. Now, content is just wacky. You can go to Wikipedia and get nonsense on there, whether it's on your mobile or on your computer. You have not only an inferred fiduciary duty to your own business to maximize your profits, but also to act in an ethical and moral way. When you do not, it will come back to bite you in the butt, and fast. So an entity should be duly diligent, be responsible, adhere to certain of legal rules, but also err on the side of moral and ethical decisions. Be a good guy. Don't be a bad guy. Because everything you do becomes history. That's going to become part of your history. You will be judged by who you are, what you do, and what you say.
David, I want to come to you. There's something that you were talking about reaching out to customers. I mean, you and I talk about this tethered stroke untethered world. I mean, one of the things that it strikes us, Andrew and I, we were talking earlier on, is this whole notion of broadcasting versus actually getting feedback back from customers. Talk a little bit about that two-way street, because there's an important change in the way social networking is being used in marketing.
Sure. When you look at the internet 10 years ago, the predominant language of the internet was English, and it was presumed that everyone who used the internet had some understanding of English. Today, that number is somewhere in the range of 25%, and most of that is due to what I like to say the untethering of going mobile. Many countries who are developing have not got a wired infrastructure. They have an untethered mobile infrastructure, cheaper, faster, easier. Enables the populace to engage. The other challenge that entertainment companies, sports broadcasters, anyone who's got a really rich website has a problem. They're broadcasting in 1, 2, 5, 10 languages. That's great. But their constituents really have no voice coming in. Because really, if I'm sitting here in LA and I'm broadcasting out in 10 languages, I really don't have the infrastructure to allow people to come in. I'm not really creating that global village. And what Wordspo does, which I think some of the people can see on, actually up there, is we're translating on the fly. We give that ability for broadcasters, and that's anyone who really has a rich website, to now engage their consumers on an incoming basis. A really good example of that, which is really fractured, if you go to a sports site, and let's say baseball, you're going to see threads develop in a chat system where someone is talking about an issue in English. All of a sudden, somebody pipes in Spanish, and it's like that particular thread was now fractured. Well, what we've done is we're enabling that chat system to instantly localize. That means whether you're on a mobile device, or you're on a portable device, or you're on a tethered landline device, you can now see anything in your language. Ergo, creating that global village.
Here's what it means. I beg your pardon. I have a big mouth. You'll have to control it. Here's what it means in my world. KISS looks like a rock and roll band, but much prefers to act as a rock and roll brand. We have over 3,000 licenses, everything from KISS condoms to KISS caskets. We'll get you coming and we'll get you going. Now, aside from all the funny stuff, our main focus is to spread our brand to the world. We're arrogant. Everybody in this room believes the world speaks in English. They don't. Talk to the Chinese. They're flush with cash. They're not so incentivized to speak your language. We better start learning how to speak Mandarin and Cantonese. Failing that, we have full-time legal in China. You can go in my language, because I'm the simpleton, this is the techno guy. I can go to ortsvo.com. I know it's an unwieldy name, but ortsvo.com. I find my Facebook or my MSN, whatever I use. I put in my own password, which nobody knows. And then I pick my language, Swahili, Farsi, anything. Paul Stanley and I were in a band called KISS, 38 years old, did the world's largest chat in history at the Beverly Hills Hotel that Neil and the nice people at Variety were a part of, and the Guinness Book of Records were there. There were how many countries?
Record 88, 92 in total.
We're chatting in English. It's going through Ortspo because we logged on. We're chatting to them in real time in their language. They answer in their language. We get it in English. Now, I can't tell you what that does to spreading a brand. If you're a politician, if you just want to communicate, if you have a product, you want to send your oranges to Japan or whatever, it's instantaneous. It finally tears down the Tower of Babel.
David, if you could, can you talk a bit about, in the time you've been up with Ortspo, unique visitors, impressions, what kind of numbers are you putting up? And also talk a bit about the business model here, because that's what we're about here at Milberto.
So when we started Ortspo in July 22nd, 2010, our infrastructure was built to handle the first 3 years. I guess our goal was to emulate Facebook's first 3 years of business.